Hey everybody, Keith here. Mark, director, leader, fearless leader. We're here. We're going to be painting a wooded background, a background of trees. How's that? What do you
I
think?
like backgrounds of trees.
Background of trees. It is then. That'll be on the cover, right?
Yep.
So very good. All right. So as you can see, what I've done is I created a background so I could, or a foreground so I could actually show a background of trees. This is something I did recently, and I like it, and I thought this might be an opportunity to actually do this, and maybe I'll do a background of trees one time, and then I'll put the rocks in front of it too. We could have done this all at once, I know, but
Well, and we just put out a video of how to paint rocks and close-up trees, so go watch
that's
that one.
true. That's true. And what I want for this is more of a, it's back there a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and start and kind of explain as I go. That's a good idea. All right. So I have discovered something too with the camera. I have discovered that this blue tape, I think, really screws with the color of the paintings, and I think I'm going to be getting white tape in the near future, just because for some reason, I take that tape off. These paintings get a lot better looking on the screen. So I'm like, okay, this is much closer. So I think the blue tape is kind of screwing things up. I'm not giving up the tape. I'm just giving up the color. And no, I won't do frog tape either. So
Well, the green will do the same thing, so it's got to be a neutral color, white, gray, or
Yeah.
black.
What? Oh, gray? I don't know if anybody.
I didn't know they.
There's not that much white, so I don't think it hurts it. So I think this will be. If I use white tape, I think I might be okay. We'll
Yeah.
find out. We'll check it out.
No, as I said, it has to be white, black, or gray.
Oh, I
A
might
neutral
not.
color. If you do the green, it'll tint the image based on the camera too.
Yeah. Okay. So this is a lot of negative painting. Wet. How's that? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to wet the top up here. And I don't have to hit everything, but I am going to kind of get it, how you say, moist. No, that sounds terrible. How you say wet. There you go.
Damp.
Damp. Yeah, no, I'm getting it wet, but it doesn't have to be real sopping or anything like that. In fact, I'm kind of looking around, make sure it isn't. I'm going to start with my sky. We're right on the, if you look in this picture, we're right on that water line. We're right down on the ground looking over the rocks, I think. Therefore, I feel that we should get some sky into this picture. A little bit of blue, just a little. So that, you get the feeling of the perspective kind of looking up the waterfall a little. And I'm just going to kind of put it right in here. And it don't have to be a lot, but I think it has to be kind of strong enough to show up. There we go. On the screen. How's that? But as you can see, doesn't have to be too intense. All right. So, maybe just a bit more.
Which blue are you using?
I'm sorry, I'm using ultramarine blue because there's a lot of that color in this painting itself. So I think it works to, incorporate, if you're incorporating a major color, maybe try to, get it into different aspects of your painting. So I'm using the ultramarine blue. I like that. That looks like it's going to work. And then I'm not going to let this dry. I'm just going to go right ahead and I'm going to grab a little bit of maybe a lemon yellow and a little, where is it? Little sap green. We're going to mix that together, kind of make a little bright, happy color. What this color represents, though, is the far back. This is not the close-up. This is like way back where the color's a little more muted and soft because you can't see it, you know, or you know, mist. I don't care. Let me know when I'm not making sense anymore.
About a half hour ago.
Yeah.
So how long ago did you paint these rocks? Like the rocks have been dried for a while, right?
Yeah. Oh, these rocks. I did this last week.
Okay.
With the intention of actually, I thought, you know what? I'll make a little foreground, you know, and then it turned into this, you know, federal project for me, and I liked it. So I'm looking forward to finishing this thing. As you can see, I kind of let that yellow green just lightly kind of blend in with that ultramarine blue. So that way I get to save some of the blue. The green isn't like coming up to an edge and stopping. We're just letting everything kind of flow together. And like I said, this is like your background. This is the farthest color back. And everything that comes closer now will be a little darker. So, you know, the nearer forest, nearer, and then finally the maybe individual leaves or a distinct plant or two, or a distinct branch or two, will kind of highlight the very close up, the very closest up of the vegetation.
So that big green blob that was already there is a closer tree or bush?
Yeah, it will be because it is a dark green blob. And I went to do something and I thought, you know what? No, I'm going to save this. I'm going to do this as a painting. So I didn't go any farther. I just left it alone. But yeah, that was going to be a dark thing because it's right at the edge of the little cliff there. So those objects will probably be a little bit darker because they are closer. So yeah, good. Thanks for pointing that out. All right. So while it's damp, this is what's fun, is you're not letting it dry completely. Okay, while it's wet, you try to go in and add a little bit of color to variations of possible trees in the picture. So I'm gonna just kind of blob out some stuff here. But I'm probably not gonna define it that much. We're just gonna let it kind of blend out. I like over here. But I don't wanna kill all the light. You can see the yellow green that we started with. The bright, lighter yellow green. I think I'll add some up here. Now, as you can see, it's not, it's going to move. It's not dry yet. And if it does start getting dry, well, the thing is, you're adding, every time you add a little more color, you're adding a little more water. So just kind of keep an eye on it. If it starts getting real dry, if you touch the page and it's not moving anymore, then it's probably dried up a mite. All right. So there's some vegetation. So these are trees that you're kind of looking up on, or look a little bit. You're kind of looking up to. And they're a little farther back, obviously. So again, all I'm going to do is add a little more value to my green, and I'm going to do just a little bit of, each time I do it, I don't want to do, each layer kind of is a little less and less and less, okay, so that it doesn't get too too busy with, if you do all the dark real strong in the front, everything else disappears, you know, so less is more at this point.
And which green was that?
This is sap green with another green in it. I can't find the list, okay? This is very embarrassing, but
You're supposed to know them all by memory. And
I know, and I believe it's olive green dark, okay? But I honestly cannot absolutely swear to that. Okay, but I'm pretty sure the stress of just you putting me on the spot, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I hate you. All right. So at this point, I am going to start maybe backing off the real wet stuff. I'm just adding a color here and there to kind of fill it in. I'm also, since there's this, I forgot about this. See this kind of golden color I've got in here? I have some on the rock down here too. I am going to add a little bit of that. It's yellow ochre. And I throw in just a bit of raw sienna, but the yellow ochre would be just fine, okay? So I'm going to just so I get a little different color. You know what? I'm going to add a little bit of brown to it too, I think. Let me try just a little burnt sienna to that too, okay? Just so I get a little bit of that color in there also. See how it's still wet? It's going to move. Let that kind of, yeah. All right, so I think the only thing I think it needs a little more value in here. Another possible future tree. So, see how dry that is? It's not moving. I'm going to cheat. So I just kind of added the paint and I just kind of splash a little water. Let me try to get a little more color on there. All right. So at this point, what we're going to be doing is adding some branches now. We're going to get some tree limbs in here. So it doesn't look like just a bunch of weeds, but it's actual trees. So I'm going to mix up a little bit of ultramarine, indigo. Mix up a little indigo with a little bit of the burnt sienna. And what I like is I want it to be more gray than brown. So I'm going to add a little more of the, I'm going to add a lot more. Okay, so that's starting to gray down a little bit. Now the trick to this is you don't want too big a brush. We want a little smaller brush because if it's still wet, this is going to move a little bit. So let me just test. I'm going to test the waters here. Oh yeah, no, we're good. So let me my phone tells me I have a text message. All right, leave me alone. So, as you can see, I'm just bringing up some of these branches. So this is a pretty pretty small stuff actually, okay? And I'll run through the wet. I'll let it kind of bleed a little bit. See how it's softening? That's kind of helps push those tree branches back a little bit. See how it's fading into the background. So you'll have some foreground stuff and you'll have some background stuff. So, and that's what I'm doing. I'm gonna turn my paper here so I can, no, I'm gonna turn my paper, I'm not sure which way. All right, I choose. Sorry, guys. All right, I'm going to choose. I'm trying to do it so you can see what I'm doing. This is kind of the fun part. So I'm using, as you can see, it's still pretty wet up in here, and you can see it. See how it's bleeding away like that? I can work with that. And I like when it comes out soft and then like hardens into little smaller, harder things. Okay? It's kind of funny because there's, different kind of woodsy areas. I like the areas that have a lot of that kind of stuff hanging from them too. Like Florida. All right. Now, I am going to eliminate a little bit of this, just soften it up. So I don't want it to all be a little too heavy. All right.
That was my favorite branch.
Damn it. You never speak up in time. All right. Again, see how it kind of blurs. Blurs. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a little bigger brush again, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to try to hit it with a little darker value branches, not individual leaves, because we're not that close, okay? But kind of more like individual clumps. Oh, look, a canopies. All right, now I'm going to take a little water, and I'm just going to, I like to kind of bleed them a little bit. I know, disgusting. But you can see how it, again, softens it up a little bit. And I'm also looking to see if there's any moisture left anywhere. Doesn't really look like it. You see how it doesn't move at all. The paint stays exactly where I put it with my brush. So that tells me things have dried up quite a bit. Now, I want it to still, I don't want it quite to be quite that detailed yet. So that's why I'm coming around the edges.
I'll be right back.
Oh, oh no. There goes my support blanket right there. But you can see how we're getting depth to this picture. We're slowly bringing it up to the foreground. All right. The last time he left during a video, he got some cool mail, I think. We'll try to get nosy, get the big picture. Again, as you can see, this is not quite dry. That gives me the opportunity to just kind of keep bleeding in some of the color here. Again, being careful not to eliminate all of the light, okay? So see all this here? Probably going to want to keep a lot of that. This area back here is a little bit darker. That's good. That's kind of helps kind of focus almost. You can almost see how I bring everything down to the waterfall using the branches. Yeah, I planned that. It's like a gift. But kind of look for little things that help kind of move the eyes around. You'll pick them up the more you do, the more you learn. All right. So now, or you get better with lucky guesses. All right. So at this point, I am going to try to make some darker greens here. Like I said, I think one of them's olive, but I think I'm mixing it with something I don't quite... That is a dark green. I am going to add maybe Cascade. I am not sure, guys. I'm sorry. Anyway, but I am going to use a dark one. All right, so at this point, I feel like I'm kind of close to the front of the... I want to get there now. So all I'm doing is kind of creating clumps of vegetation that are closer to the cliff face here, and we want them to be on the dark side. See, there would be some kind of Star Wars reference if Mark were here at this moment. I'm going to come up just in here. I like finding where it's still wet. Maybe add just a little drip and drab there to let it kind of bleed out a little. I think... So you have returned.
Yeah, sorry about that. Little
did we get
technical issue that I had to take care of for Allison.
Oh no. Her pony wouldn't run, right?
Yeah. She needed to log into something and she didn't know the password. So we had to hunt it down through Andrea's stuff.
Even as we speak, she's now buying a very nice gift for you.
Yeah, right.
With your money. That's how we used to do it. Dad. Okay, so I think at this point I am going to put some dark over here, but I'm also going to get a little more water going over here too. I also feel like I don't have a big enough tree in any one place here. So I think I am going to plant me a tree here. Again, I'm using the indigo and the... Now the idea is I'm going to be working a little bit darker, and that's what's going to kind of bring it to the forefront. So I'm going to... Wow, it's still wet up there. There. Okay, I'm gonna go maybe in there. As you can see, I'm trying to make something a little more substantial here. Because I could have put a big fat dandelion on top of any one of those first trees. And it would look like, this is just a tiny little dribble coming down the street or down the creek. And again, you see what I mean about letting that kind of, this is interesting. It's just, you let watercolors do things. You give it the opportunity, you strike out, and every once in a while, you score. And if not, if I don't like it, I can always kind of go back in real quick and, pick it up, dampen it, pick it up. But I like it. I'm gonna leave it. Okay, so at this point, I am just gonna add a little more foreground green. I like to kind of work at angles. You don't want your leaves to look like they're all hanging straight down, It doesn't seem very natural. All I'm doing is kind of coming in and just kind of filling in a little bit. All right. Oh no. All right. So I can continue to play with this, and I usually do. I'll let it dry up, but I don't think you guys need to sit around and watch me look at it for a half hour. So this is pretty close to what I want. Like I said, I'll go back in, I'll look at it, and I'll play with it. I'll add more little sticks and twigs, little bits of grass here and there. But for the most part, don't forget, you're trying to get the background, a middle ground, and then the foreground, using the dark for your foreground.
So I've got a question.
Oh no. Yes.
So your sky color's pretty faint, the blue.
Yeah.
If you wanted a richer blue, would I've had to have made it richer to begin with, or is there a way to go in and make it darker now?
Well, I'll tell you what. If it's dry, okay, and I'm not sure it all is, but I think there's enough dry area I can show you. I can go back in. What I'll do is I'll go, this looks a little weak in here. I'll just kind of go in and I'll hit it. I'll just kind of blend it in a little more. And wherever it's blue, I could certainly add more color. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
The only thing you got to be careful of is if some of this stuff is still wet, it might, I don't want a green sky when I'm done. But you can see I got a little more value in there, okay? And yeah, you can go back in. Punch it up a little bit here and there. And then, sometimes, I change my mind. There. It's a little wet over there, but okay. But yeah, you can go back in. That's the beauty of, the rag paper, the 100% rag cotton, because it holds paint. So once something dries, you can go in and add a little more, add a little more. So that's a good start, okay, I think. Like I said, I could keep going real quick. Let me just add a couple of these just to kind of show you. I just like to get in there and Oh, that's so wet I can't really do anything. Let me try another area. Yeah, like here. You can just kind of go in and... Because I like... Then I'll grab a little of the green paint and... Come on. And I'll just kind of maybe add just a little bit. I just kind of filled that in a little bit more. If this seems a little weak in here, I can always just kind of go in and, although that's still pretty wet, I don't want to lose all of it, but yeah, I just go in, add a little more color. And I'm going to call that quits because I think that'll work. I could play with it. I could add probably, and I will maybe in the future here, might add one more very large branch or treelet or whatever you want to call it. So anyway, I'm gonna call it quits here though. Tell you what, we can peel this off. Maybe. Like I said, I think the kind of helps to see it as a little bit of a white background. So there you go. Mr. Hicks, any questions?
No questions, but if you guys have watched this long, I should have said in the beginning, check the description of the video. We've got links to different drawings that you can use as a base to start your own painting, as well a list of different materials that Keith uses in general, and a few links on where to buy them that support the channel slightly. So we appreciate you, and stay tuned for the next short tutorial on, I don't know what's next. I'm gonna do some clouds. Ooh.
Yeah, in fact, I also put the foreground in that picture too. So yes, exactly. I just wanted, so that people can have a finished product kind of to look at, instead of, okay, I'm just going to do the sky and all the rest of it, you're on your own. But you'll see. I use subjects that you are aware of, believe me. So everybody, thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Hey, check us out. Subscribe. Did you say that?
Nope, but you did.
Subscribe. Come on. It's fun. I actually went looking. We're doing good. We're having a lot of fun. I'm really glad. So I promised that we would get started about 5 times, Mark, over a 3-year period. And we finally are back. And we've put out at least 5 or 6 videos in the past month or so, would you say? Yeah. We're serious about this. So we're going to keep going, and we're back. So take care. Thank you very much. Bye.